In this lesson, we are going to recall about the SQL queries and how to manipulate data using SQL commands, SQL queries. So we're going to have an example of a to-dos application, a little bit changed than what we had before. So we are going to have a table where we have the users table. Let's say we have the ID, we have the email, we have the username, first name, last name, hashed password, and is active. So this is the users table. Let's say we have the example data here. So this is ID, the email, the username, coding with Robbie, first name Eric, last name Robbie, the hashed password, and is active, whether 0 or 1. 1 means is active. So in order to insert some data into the database, we need to recall the basic SQL syntax for this. So we're going to say we're inserting into to-dos the title, description, priority, and complete. So this is going to be in the to-dos table, which has this structure here, without the owner column in this case. So now for the owner column, we are going to use it later for understanding and recalling what are the foreign keys and the primary keys. For that, first let's understand how to insert data with the basic SQL query. So we are going to insert into to-dos. We are going in the brackets specify the column names, so the title, description, priority, complete, and in the values we are going to in the brackets respectively write what is going to be the title, what is going to be the description, what is going to be the priority to get the priority string in this case, and the complete, which is all true or false in this case. So when I go and insert this in our database, we will see that if we had like the first row, at first we are going to have the second row because ID is automatically auto incremented. We have the haircut, need to get length 1 nm, and then we have 3 priority, and then with the complete, if it's a boolean column, the false is 0 and the true is 1. So as we have this database already, so we can go and fill the database with new rows. This is the third row, for example, this is fourth, this is the fifth row, and etc. and etc. There we are going now to add also one column, which is going to be owner. Later you will understand the meaning of why we need the owner column. Now we want to recall what are the basic queries for reading the data from the database. So if we want to select all columns and rows, we're going to use the basic SQL query select star from to-dos, so semicolon, and then if I execute this, I will get all the information about the table of all the columns and rows. It's just reading the pandas data frame, just all. If we have like pandas data frame, we say just go read CSV to the top of the data, and then it gives us all the table with all the rows and the columns. So if we want, we can just grab one of the columns. So we just here in this case we just select the title column from columns, and it shows us only the title column. We can only select the description column from the to-dos. So we can say select just description from columns, and it will just print out the description column. We can also select multiple columns, so we need to separate them by title and then comma and then description from to-dos. So in this case we will have printed 2 columns, the title and the description, with all the corresponding values for each of the column. So if we want multiple, more than 2, we can specify as many columns as we have in the database and just select all of them. Now we go for understanding the where clause in the SQL. So if we want to do some filtering from the database, we can use the where clause. So in this case, we're selecting everything from the to-dos where we have the priority equals to 5. So we're selecting all the rows where the priority equals to 5, and this is the table printed out. So here is going to be all the rows where we have the priority column, as you can see, is equal to 5. So we can also do some filtering for the other columns. We can filter with the title column where title is equal to feed doc. The syntax is very intuitive and user-friendly, and when you read the query you understand what is the meaning of the query. And here you can see that for with title feed doc we just have one record, the database, which is this one, the ID3 title feed doc with the description. Make sure to use new food band. The priority is 5 and the complete is 0. It's not complete, it's meant yet war, so we can use the ID to get the filtering. The other one is going to be the update clause, the other important feature and the clause in the SQL. So we're going to update some rows. For example, we're going to update to-dos and set complete true where title is equal to learn something new. So it's going to find the row where the title is equal to learn something true and set here the complete column instead of 0, set it to 1. So it means that we have finished this task, this to-do task. So we can also go and grab the ID where ID is equal to 5 and set the complete also to true. So we'll finish the task with the ID of 5 also. The other important one is how to delete some records. For example, we can delete from the to-dos the ID 5. So you see the table with when the 5th ID is deleted, we have all the rows except for the 5th one. Also, we can delete all the rows where the complete is equal to 0, and we can see we not have any columns like where complete is equal to 1. It will just all delete all the rows. Now we are going to understand what does it mean one-to-many introduction. So we can have a user who has many to-dos. So a user can have many to-dos is mean like one-to-many relationships, such as why so, because we have just one user and he has a lot of to-dos. So we have the users table and we have the to-dos. So we need to now understand how to connect these two tables. So we can connect with these tables using the owner column adding to the to-dos table. So we have the owner. So in the case of the owner is going to be the values of the ID column. So we're going to map the ID to the owner column and say that, for example, if owner is 2, we're going to understand who is the owner 2 and find it from the users table. So we just add here the owner column in the to-dos table, and now it's going to be mapped to ID. And you can see that now in the owner column we have just values 1 1 2 2 1 2, which means that 1 in the case means that this is the owner of this to-do. This is the with the ID 1. It's just coding with Robbie. This the first name is Eric and the last name is Robbie. Now let's understand what are the foreign keys. Like it's a foreign key, in this case the owner ID. So a foreign key is a column with a relational database table that provides a link between the two separate tables. So foreign key reference is a primary key of another table. So in this case, a foreign key, which in this case is owner, which is the foreign key, is referencing a primary key of another table. In our case is the users table. So we have that the foreign key of the to-dos is referencing the primary key of the users table. So, and in the end I want to recall and talk to you with some famous things about MySQL and PostgreSQL, what are their advantages and who does use like MySQL or PostgreSQL. So let's recall what is MySQL. It's a database management system. It's open source relational database management system like DBMS. It requires a server, it is production ready, it is scalable, and it's very secure. And who uses it? Like many famous companies like Facebook, YouTube, or Tesla, they all use MySQL. PostgreSQL, the other thing is we're going to talk about. They have the elephant logo. They are also production ready, they are open source, they are secure, they require a server, and they are also scalable. Well, these are the main two things that famous database management systems that usually famous companies use. And in the case of the PostgreSQL, Apple, Reddit, and Twitch are using the PostgreSQL, and it's very it has also a very big community. You can search a lot of things, you can Google, you can use Stack Overflow. There are a lot of articles for MySQL and PostgreSQL if you have some problems. So these are the basic queries introduction, and you can now go over the slides to understand how to do some basic manipulation with the data. And in the next lesson we're going to use the SQLite to do some manipulation with our already created todos.db and understand how we can use the SQLite.